What's up, guys? We are in here. Taylor Corn will be here in just a little bit. We're going to do a signing day recap. Thanks for everybody that's already in here, man. Hit up the chat. Let me know if you got any questions, and we'll kind of go through everything one by one. I'm going to wait for Taylor before we actually go through all the signees. Real quick off the top, I think one thing people are going to look at this class and obviously look at the ranking and understand. I mean, 37th, I think, overall, and that's assuming you hang on to Jace Matthews, which we'll eventually talk to. 14th in the SEC. I don't think that's obviously going to be something that's normal. This go around was different than Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze still had 3 weeks after he was hired, whereas Golesh had only 3 days. So it was a whirlwind of a turnaround, and I think the disaster. I don't even want to call it a disaster. I want to say the finish to this class being unlike what we're used to. I think you got to point all the way back to the summer and what all went down with the whole transition to rev share, who was right, who was wrong, and I can't look any further than LSU and Florida and look at those schools that went through a coaching change as well, and obviously they fared a lot better. So we definitely seem to have dropped the ball, or something was different about what we were doing versus everybody else. So with all that being said, this class has come. This year's class has been wild. Like, there was a point in time in August of last year. Remember, this class was the #1 class in the country. We picked up like multiple guys over not this past August, the August prior. We picked up a ton of guys in that Big Cat weekend stretch, and there was several guys that jumped in early, and we had the #1 class in the country at a point in time. Then you had all the decommitments, just a bunch of turmoil, and now we are where we are today. And breaking news, looks like Auburn just flipped Brian Williams, a wide receiver from Alabama. Thanks to those in the chat that just mentioned it. He's a 6'4" wide receiver, and again, we'll talk about all these guys in just a second as soon as Taylor gets in here. But that's another one to add to the class. Big wide receiver from Florida that's been committed to Alabama for a while. I think he was actually flirting with South Florida, so this was a natural fit. So good stuff. But yeah, I'd love to answer anybody's questions that you have. Just throw them in the chat, and I'll pop up as I see them come in. I will definitely hit them up. We got the basketball game tonight. We're obviously going to be going live for it as well. So make sure that you're checking in for that as well. So look, I tell you what, let's just go ahead and go through. I'll go ahead and rip through these, and let's talk through each individual signee. And as soon as she jumps in, we'll talk about that. We'll go over with her. So right off the top, you got Jace Matthews. He's not a signee yet. He's not planning to sign, I believe, until Friday. All right, so we still have some time there, and we're going to have to battle. They're going to have to battle with LSU. They're going to have to battle with Ole Miss coming after him very, very hard. So I don't think that one's really close to being over. So this thing will probably go back and forth for a while, leading all the way up to that final decision. Auburn was on him early, but he was kind of a Hugh Freeze guy, and he also is a Deuce Knight guy. So, what happens there, we don't know yet. So, as far as Jace Matthews goes, he's an electric receiver. If he leaves, your class ranking is going to take an even bigger hit. So we'll have to see that. He is not in the vote yet. So he's still got to sign his papers, and he's not planning to do that, I don't think, until Friday. Then you move down a little bit more, and you have Jacquez Wilkes, who I adore. I think he is a fantastic football player. If I'm not mistaken, today's Wednesday. So the 7A state championship is tonight. I think he may play in his state championship game tomorrow, and it'll be a fun game to watch because I think it's Wadley versus Maplesville. Both teams, I think, are undefeated, and both have just absolutely killed everybody they've played. So that'll be a really good game. So Jacquez Wilkes kind of stuck through everything. Never even was really much of a worry that he would waver. So not sure what he's going to play yet when he gets here. He's just one of those big, freakish athletes. You just got to get him here and get him on the field. So Jacquez Wilkes signed, sealed, and delivered. Hold on. C5, when could we expect to see these players announce that they're transferring? Are you talking about our current roster? When will we start to see our current roster say that they're transferring? I don't know that I understand 100% understand that question. If you clarify it, I'll definitely help there. The Morrows from the 80s were from Maplesville. Yes, Harold Morrows, aka Squash. He was a stud. I think he wore number 12. Played for the Vikings forever. Tommy Agee, also from Maplesville, believe it or not. So Maplesville's churned out some pretty good athletes for such a small school. The current roster, I mean, I guess people are saying they'll go in the portal already. I mean, they could announce their intentions to go into the portal at any point in time. They just can't go into the portal until January 2nd. So there's TK right there.
Hey guys, sorry about that.
All good. We were just talking about the class, and we were going player by player. I want to get your overall thoughts, though, just on the class in general and like the whirlwind that's been the last couple of days.
Yeah, a lot going on, including the ACC SEC Challenge tonight, which is why I'm in my car. But I think that it's gone as expected. Signing day. It was the understanding that this was going to be a bit of a smaller class in comparison to what we've seen past years. And that's something that Alex Golesh actually touched on in his introductory press conference was our focus right now is retaining the roster. That's, right. That is our number one priority. And then from there, he talked about the portal a little bit, but we just kind of knew how this was going to go. I think that the Corey Wells, Chris Wells flip, that was obviously a big deal. Disappointing that Braylon Womack didn't flip back.
Yeah.
But I think, I think it was probably a possibility after the retainment of DJ Durkin. But I think that would be the only thing that you might see as a little bit disappointing. Aside from that, I think it's gone as expected.
Yeah, I'm with you. There was you thought maybe you have a shot at Jordan Carter, but he just he just signed with Tennessee. So, but everybody else, like you said, you pretty much got everybody that you listed. We went through Jace Matthews and Jacquez Wilkes. We're moving on. Darius Tootle, obviously 4-star linebacker. He was committed, wasn't committed. Then he's committed again. And this time he brought his brother with him. So I like this kid. I like his measurables. I think he could be a really good player in time and great family too.
That's what I was about to say. Is there a family that loves Auburn more than the Tootle family?
No, can't be.
And I feel like he's one, and I think his family as well are huge DJ Durkin fans, and something that's been talked about a lot was retaining DJ Durkin also provided some clarity as to what we could expect recruiting wise, whether that be retaining commits and then just, moving down the road in the future. He has proven that he's one of the best coordinators in the country, as well as Vontrell King Williams, him saying, that probably played into the Corey Wells decision, if I had to guess. So huge. I think the DJ Durkin aspect of things probably helped a lot there with the Toodles.
Oh, without a doubt. I was talking with Papa Tootle, and they were very much hoping that DJ would be retained. So they're obviously excited. You just mentioned Corey Wells. Quick story about Corey Wells. So Corey Wells came on a visit, I think either in June or July, the month that lives in infamy as far as recruiting goes for Auburn. Maybe it was May. Regardless, it was in that dark period of time whenever we lost everybody. Well, he came and he's in I think in the lobby of the Auburn Hotel or whatever, every coach is there. They're like, this is the number one guy. You know, this is our top guy, interior defensive lineman. They feel really good about it. I got a couple texts in. We feel really good. We feel like we're going to get Corey. Then he literally commits to Texas. Like, I don't know if it was like the next day or like the next couple of days. So they never gave up on him and thought they were going to flip him multiple times throughout the season. I think we just kept losing. I think that's literally, if we would have had a big win, you would have been able to flip him. But they stuck with him, and obviously Vontrell's retention was huge for that one, and they pulled off the big flip because I think it was back and forth all the way up until last night, and you get his brother too.
In Texas, I mean, they lost two defensive
They got gutted.
Bodney Cleveland to UNC.
Yeah, their defensive line was gutted.
Yeah, and after that, I was starting to wonder, you know, will that play an impact in the Corey Wells decision? You know, will Texas make a late move and say, you know, we've got a little more than we originally thought for you because they lost Bodney Cleveland, but obviously things worked out in favor for Auburn.
Yeah, for sure. You thought, yeah, exactly. If they start losing guys, we'll clamp it down on Corey. And I think they tried. But we offered his brother a scholarship. Not to say Chris is just a tag along. I think he's got a really good chance to be a good player as well as like a pass rushing, like an edge buck. That's what it said on his signee profile when Auburn posted it. So, good group right there. Good two bros that and both of them can play. And Corey was the number one interior defensive lineman we had on our board. Wilson Zaire has not signed yet. Talked to some folks. They say we'll be watching around 4:30. That could be, whenever that signing is announced. So we'll watch for that. If we're still on, who knows? That may come in, but I don't think there's anything to worry about there. You definitely want to get him. He's your big 4-star offensive tackle, legacy, all the things. So definitely need to get that one wrapped up, but he is not 100% signed. Adam Balangoon Ali, they call him Goon. Taylor, have you watched anything on this kid? You watched this? Yeah. Have you watched any film on this kid?
I haven't, but I saw a quote from him that Caleb Jones tweeted out earlier that I found interesting, so I saved it to bring it up. But it was basically saying, as DJ Durkin goes, Goon goes. Yeah. And he said this is a quote from him, he said, the moment I walked into the facility and they told me what the spiel was, I just felt like it was really home. So again, another kid that was impacted, by the DJ Durkin decision. Yeah,
for sure. Tavian Branch, that was a flip from today. Vodney had a pretty good day. Big interior defensive lineman from, does that say Pennsylvania? Yeah. Riverside, Taylor, Pennsylvania. He was down to several. Penn State, I think he actually was originally a Penn State commit. A lot of Midwestern schools, Ole Miss was after him, but that was big to get him another addition on signing day. Don't know a ton about him yet. Definitely going to do some research, but he's committed and signed. Parker Pritchett, Columbus, Georgia, always good to get kids from Columbus. Interior offensive lineman. He's one that I think the first time he came onto campus, he looked like a high school kid. Like he looked like a high school kid. And the next time he came back, he looked like a grown man. He like really had reshaped his body and everything. And I think they're really excited about Parker. I think they call him Dooley. So he's signing in. And then Taylor, I'm excited about this kid, Deshaun Spencer. They call him Sean. Okay. From Saraland High School. I'm going to give y'all a little stat on him. Okay. He had over 500 yards total over 500 yards more of total offense his senior year than Ryan Williams had his senior year. So at Saraland, 26 total touchdowns in one season. He's a smaller guy, but I mean, I think he could be as good or every bit as good of a player as like an Eric Singleton. Like he's that type of player, 5'11", 170, 175. You watch his highlight tape, he scores on every play. So, I mean, to put up better stats than Ryan Williams put up without KJ Lacey that's at Texas, I'd say that's pretty impressive. I'm very excited to see this kid.
Yeah, and that's kind of the context that he's been talked about in is Ryan Williams leaves. Who's going to pick up the slack or the production that they got out of him? And then there was really, no drop off in terms of straight stats. And this is another kid, when you talk about the NIL era of college football or really athletics at all, it's always, who's offering them the most money. But hearing the way that this kid specifically has spoken about the opportunity to be able to play for Auburn, be able to play for a school in his home state, it seems like that's something that matters a lot to him, which I feel like you don't see a ton of anymore, or at least not as much as you used to. But that's cool that still matters.
Totally. Flipped from Duke yesterday. He is signed and in the house. And then, Taylor, as we were recording, when I turned it on, Brian Williams, his commitment went public, which I thought it was going to happen tomorrow. They talked about it happening tomorrow, but he's the big wide receiver, 6'4", 200-pound wide receiver from First Academy in Florida. He was committed to Alabama for a really, really long time, and he actually flipped to Auburn today. I think he had even been flirting with talking with Golesh and whatnot at South Florida. Again, we just learned about this kid a couple of days ago. From what little film I've seen on him, he's super long, really good deep threat. So we'll dive into more about him as this thing goes on. Shadrick Tootle, that is Shadarius Tootle's older brother, actually. He went to Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College and became one of the top JUCO corners, I think, available. So he's a big, long, physical corner. I think he got some awards this year. I'll have to get his dad to I'll have to get his dad to send it all to me. But you're talking about 6'4". Like, he's taller than Shadarius. So really, really long, athletic defensive back. Give me all those. Give me all of those. NH3425 has a super chat. I've seen Deshaun Spencer play, and let me tell you, if you remember Ryan Davis from 2017 to 2018, well, we are in for an exciting, talented player with Spencer. He's very like Ryan Davis. If we get that type of production out of him, I think we'll all be excited because Ryan Davis was a stud. Keep on going. Mikhail Lundy Foster. This was a signing day flip from South Florida. Again, I don't think they didn't come over here saying they're going to bring everybody, but I think they singled out a couple of their top guys that they had committed, and this is one of them. Interior offensive lineman, 6'4", 310 from Tallahassee. Taylor, do you have any issues bringing South Florida commits? We got a couple more to talk about, but do you have any issues or have any reserve there at all?
No, because I think when you look at the production of really just offenses under Alex Golesh throughout all of his stops, whether it be as an offensive coordinator or a head coach, he's had really productive offenses. And in order to get that production, you've got to be able to evaluate talent. And at a place like where he's coming from, USF, you're not able to get elite talent as, it's not as readily available as it is when you're coaching at a school in the SEC, a school in a power conference. So no, I don't have a problem with it. One thing that I have noticed, though, is that the majority of the players so far, whether it be flips or like a lot of people I've talked about when the portal opens, there are probably some guys to keep an eye on. A lot of them have been offensive players. So it seems like, we're going to let DJ, we're going to let him handle we're going to trust his evaluations on the defensive side of the ball. But, there's a reason that they're bringing these guys in. And because they've had such productive offenses, I'll trust them until they give me a reason not to.
Yeah, there you go. I'm with you. No, Brian Williams is not a replacement for Jace Matthews. So he's in addition to. So, I'm not saying that we're 1,000% going to get Jace Matthews and he's going to sign on Friday, but I don't think we got Brian in case we lost Jace. I think we want them both. So if that answers, I saw a bunch of people asking that. All right, keep going. DeMarcus Broughton, DJ Broughton. I talked with I talked with Shadrick Tootle, who is the dad, about this kid, and he was an awesome baseball player. I was unsure if it was basketball or baseball. He's good at all three, but he was like a baseball guy. Played football when he was young, then quit, started playing baseball, and then I think he picked it back up maybe his sophomore or junior year. And the thing is, they're like, dude, his hands are just incredibly big. He's got the biggest hands like you'll ever see, which is obviously ideal for if you're going to play tight end in this offense. Being obviously making it easier to catch the ball. So
needed.
Golesh is a tight end guy, and we have not been a tight end school for a while. So it'd be nice to get as many of those athletes, freakish athletes, as we possibly can, because I definitely think he likes to get the ball to the tight end. And boy, that would be refreshing.
Yeah. Needed. And I mean, he's 6'5", or he's listed as 6'5", so
yeah,
seems like he'll play the role well if they can figure out how to work him into the offense.
Absolutely. Reese Brush, that's your quarterback of this class. You saw Peyton Falzon sign with Penn State, which let's give Penn State a round of applause.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, I was proud of it.
I sent out a tweet earlier, and I was like, I'm kind of starting to feel sad for Penn State. I'm not typically one that feels, I'm like, if things are falling apart elsewhere, then so be it. But they needed it. They needed that badly.
Yeah, that's so badly. I'm seeing now, gosh, they may end up hiring the interim. So
they got to hire someone.
They got to.
They're about to be in the situation that UAB's in with their head coaching job posted on LinkedIn. I'm like, what is happening?
That's wild, by the way. That's a true story. It is. It was on Indeed.
Yeah, Indeed might be worse. Might be worse than LinkedIn.
That's so funny. I heard somebody say, I can't remember who it was. They're like, Penn State needs to hang out and go hire Mike Tomlin from the Steelers. Now that would be crazy. I don't know how close those Pittsburgh is to Happy Valley, but that would be definitely
someone.
Yeah, for sure.
They need a head coach.
They definitely do badly. Reese Brush, anyway, quarterback. He's won a ton of games. He's only lost 3 games in 3 years. I think just a solid guy. He came over from South Florida. Reached out to us. We did his commitment graphic. That's pretty sweet. So I don't know if y'all saw that. That's pretty cool. Wayne Henry, I think technically he would be, because I think you have to kick out Tootle because he decommitted. So the longest commit of the class, maybe. Yeah, I think is going to be Wayne Henry from St. Francis Academy. Keep that pipeline going. And actually, there's a wide receiver at South Florida that's really good. He's their number 2 guy that he went to St. Francis too. So might want to keep an eye out on that one. We'll see. Chris Wells, we talked about him earlier, and then Travis Wakefield, who is a long snapper. I don't know if he's actually going to be on scholarship. So what do we have left? I thought we are going to have Brian Williams left, but he's done now. So you're waiting on Jace Matthews on Friday, and then any minute now, I would think we should have the signature from Wilson Zaire, and then I think you should pretty much be wrapped up. I want to throw something at you, Taylor, I just recently thought about, and get your. Do you think we'll actually even dabble in that area? But signing day's today. Okay, everybody signed.
Yep.
January 2nd, even the kids that have signed today could, in theory, go into the portal. So
yeah.
What do you think about taking another crack at some of these guys before they get enrolled in January? Do you think there's any, or are there any you would love to see us go back after? Braylon Womack is one where I just feel like if we had the DJ thing settled from the beginning, he might have still been a commit. That might be one that I would say maybe hit him with a little tamper action. See if you can get that one. But I don't know. I think that's going to be the next big thing is stealing guys that are signed when the portal opens.
Yeah, which is crazy because it's like, okay, what's the point of committing when you can just flip your commitment? But now it's the point of signing if you can end up somewhere else, before playing a snap.
Yeah.
So the portal is still a thing. And yes, I think that if there are guys like Braylon Womack who this coaching staff really wants and, missed out on or didn't get the first go around, yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that they'll circle back and just, check in one last time, because I think that's something that we've seen over the past couple of years. And obviously some things are going to change now that Freeze is gone, but especially with Durkin, I mean, I don't think that if there's a kid they want, they're not giving up till, the clock runs out. So I would not be surprised at all if a elite, super talented kid like that they thought they had for a while may have, slipped out of their grasp towards the end of things. Wouldn't shock me at all if they circled back. Now, will he leave? No telling.
It's gonna be tough.
I think they'll try.
Josh Lindsay said, you only have to wait 5 days after the new coach is hired to go into the portal. January 2nd is for players who didn't have a coaching change, right? So initially when that ruling came out, I would have thought you're correct. Like once Golesh is hired, so he was hired on Monday technically or Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday the 3rd.
So in theory, the portal should open for 15 days on Thursday, I guess tomorrow. But that's actually not the case. I think it's for coaching changes after the first of the year. So very similar to like the Nick Saban thing, where it's really late and there's not a lot of opportunity for them to do anything. I think they're still able to do that. The portal for Auburn will not open on Thursday. It will not open until January 2nd, from my understanding. And I believe the way you believed first, but then it was clarified recently. So that should not be the case. We were talking beforehand, Taylor, and I was talking about how, Florida and LSU went through a coaching change, but their classes are still great. So there is a little bit of, I guess, I'm still a little bit kind of confused and maybe a little bit aggravated at how the whole summer went down. Like it still feels like we were outthinking ourselves this summer while everybody else was loading up, and we didn't have our class finished off like a lot of these places did. Florida didn't have a single decommitment. I don't think LSU maybe only had one or two. Like, think about that after a coaching change. So it's crazy. What are your thoughts on the summer and how we dropped the bag there?
Yeah, this summer just kind of seemed like it shambles.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know the whole story either.
Something seemed a little bit off, and then once the season started, that didn't help, because all summer we were all saying, just win.
Yeah, just win and it'll take care of it.
Yeah, winning cures everything. Winning solves all the problems. And there was no more vision to sell. You have the talent on the roster now, so you're not selling a vision. You're not saying, we have a bunch of young guys, new players, there's a talent gap. That's not the case anymore. So at that point, I think there's all that's left to do, or all more that you have to show, is winning games on the field. So that definitely didn't help when you're already kind of feeling like you dug yourself in a hole. So I think that has to do with it. But on the other side of things, I think that with assuming that the roster doesn't completely fall apart when the transfer portal opens, which I think that there will be some attrition, but I don't think that it's going to fall apart by any stretch of the imagination. I think that this roster is in a place where Alex Golesh has a chance to win immediately. And I think that you have to win, prove that you can win games again, prove that you can be competitive nationally within the SEC. I think that there is an opportunity sitting on a silver platter in front of Alex Golesh and this new staff, that all of those narratives, well, it's not really a narrative, it's reality, can be wiped away real quick.
Yep.
If there's improvement offensively, because I think that we all have a very high level of confidence that the defense should be solid. If they can get things turned around offensively, I think that you can start moving in the right direction pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Felix the Cat says, is Cam Coleman leaving? Your guess is as good as mine right now. I mean, he's going to be there's no telling the kind of money that's going to be thrown at him this offseason, like in just a couple of weeks. I'm sure it's already been thrown at him, but I still maintain this. Cam Coleman just needs an excuse to stay at Auburn. I think he wants to be here. I think he just needs an excuse. So we got to figure out what that excuse is over the next 3 weeks or so. Taylor, I've seen a couple of people asking. I'm going to ask you this. Byron Brown, obviously the quarterback from South Florida, thrown up for over 3,000, rushed for over 1,000. If he comes, do you take him, or do you roll with Deuce? Like, what's your thoughts if he were to go into the portal, which South Florida's message board moderators and insiders seem to believe he's going to portal. He'll be one of the hottest portal quarterbacks prospects out there. Do you take him, or do you just roll with Deuce?
Yes, take him. I'm gonna pose a question back to the audience. Let's take a look back in time, or a couple weeks, a month, when Hugh Freeze got fired, and it's all of the talk of who's on the hot board of coaches, potential hires or replacements, and there was so much conversation revolving around we need to look at an offensive coordinator that has a quarterback that is proven within their system and try and get a little bit of a package deal.
Yeah.
That's basically what this would be. Not in the SEC, but if you have a chance to get a guy that has been extremely successful running the offense that is going to be run at Auburn, then why not? And then another thing is, Deuce, how much can you take from the Mercer game? I think that everyone knows that he has physical gifts.
Yeah.
He's an athlete. He's a freak of nature. But he's not proven. And if Byron Brown were to come in and then they have a quarterback battle, and that's something that you and I heard Alex Golesh say at his introductory press conference, was I don't think that we're going to know who our starting quarterback is until, next, what did he say, August, maybe?
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean, I think a lot of people are assuming that if he comes, that means that Deuce Knight leaves. So it's like pick one or the other. And Deuce could leave. I have no clue what would happen there.
He could leave if you don't bring him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, you want a guy that's going to want to compete, first off. And second off, who's to say that Byron Brown doesn't come in and Deuce, can't beat him out?
Yeah.
So yes, 100. I don't see a negative. The only negative that could be, or the only way that it could be spun negatively, is that if he comes, then Deuce leaves. But Deuce isn't a guarantee. We saw him look really, really good against Mercer. Yes, I'm not denying that, but there's no guarantee that
necessarily translates.
Exactly.
Right.
So yeah, yes. Bring him in.
I like it. See somebody. I've seen people talk about this. What's the rumor about Ryan Williams coming to Auburn? I don't think he's coming to Auburn, but it wouldn't shock me if he ended up playing for another Tiger. A little bit further south. So might want to keep an eye on that one, because that one would be electric. If that happened, I don't know that he's worth it. I don't think he's that good. I'm sorry. I just don't think Ryan Williams is worth all the fuss. So
Jeremy Bernard needs to be
Jeremy Bernard. Yeah. He's like 30 now. Otherwise I would say go get him. I think he's done, but he's way better in my opinion than what Ryan Williams has done. So we still got some time. We got a couple of days until the Jace Matthews announcement. I don't really think there's much left. I don't think there's anything else to be on the watch for. Now it's going to be shifting gears to the portal. So anything else you want to add to this? Put a bow on it.
I had the biggest sigh of relief when that DJ Durkin announcement hit last night.
Yeah.
That was and this is the last thing that I'll say. I thought that this was very interesting. And I think it may have been Zach that talked about it on his show this morning, probably. I thought it was very interesting that there was so much speculation and a lot of narrative that coaches being retained were being forced on candidates. That was a big talking point. Is that why John Summerall kind of removed his name from the conversation? Was the administration saying, okay, yes, hey, we're offering you the job, but you need to keep X, Y, and Z? The conversation around the length of time that it took, which they very well could have just been negotiating, and I think that that's probably what was happening, but it does make it seem now, looking back, a lot more like it was an Alex Golesh decision. Hey, I want to keep you. Like, let me prove to you why this is a good decision, and not your.
He recruited him.
Right. And he had to, I think, because good and well, it happened last season and it was happening again. DJ Durkin had other opportunities.
Sure.
Without a doubt.
There were some really good AAC jobs that opened up that he probably could have been in the mix for. Probably would have had to take a pay cut, but even as a head coach. But I think you nailed that. I think that Golesh wanted him and he had to go get him.
Yeah.
I think that DJ, rightfully or wrongfully, I think he felt like he probably should have been the head coach. And I was, obviously a big supporter of that because I wanted to see his vision over the whole team. So when you get knocked down like that, like, you got to swallow your pride, and kudos to him too. Kudos to Durkin as well for being able to swallow your pride and jump back on the saddle with this team, because I think they can do something special. But huge win for Alex Golesh, and I would say, as far as this recruiting class goes, about as good as you could do under the circumstances. The calendar is just so stupid, but they picked up some flips and finished off the class, and I think they got some good players that down the road could probably be pretty impactful at Auburn. So you're headed to Auburn right now for the game, correct?
Yep.
Good deal.
Sure am.
So if you're a member at thebarnauburn.com, you can get in the game thread. Taylor will be there covering the game. Dap will be covering. Well, Dap's actually in Arizona, so he's getting ready.
Oh, yeah.
He's already out there, so he's going to be covering it there. So we'll get this thing going tonight. 8:15 tip.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Getting ready for the 9 o'clock tip in SEC play. I think it's LSU. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's a long drive home. Long drive home for you.
Hey, that's why I got a roommate that still lives here. So her and her husband probably get real sick of seeing me showing up to their door during football and basketball season. But I got a place to lay my head. So
there you go. Guys, thank y'all for joining. Awesome chat. Awesome live stream. We'll be back again a little bit later for the basketball game. So thanks again, and we'll talk soon. And, War Eagle.